Madam Secretary, let's go ahead and start the meeting. All right. I'd like to call the Historic Resources Commission meeting of November the 2nd, 2023 to order. We will have Commissioner Marashi lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation of God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you very much. Okay, will the secretary please call roll?
Commissioner Christie,
Here.
Commissioner Cornelius, Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Hardy, Commissioner Haudegi,
Here.
Commissioner Shipp,
Present.
Vice Chair Marashi,
Here.
Chair Rush,
Present.
Chair Crum has been reached at 4:35.
Okay. All right, before we begin, I'd like to remind my fellow commissioners to turn your microphones on when speaking and off when not speaking. And when speaking, please place the microphone about 4 inches away from you. Thank you. Members of the public may attend the Historic Resources Commission meetings in person or virtually via Zoom. I now invite the Commission Secretary to describe the manner the public can access and participate in this meeting.
This meeting is being live streamed via our portal at www.santa-ana.primegov.com/public/portal and to YouTube at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Ana videos. If you would like to provide a comment, you may do so in the following ways. Join the meeting via Zoom, enter meeting ID number 826-00335333. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, select the hand icon to let us know you would like to speak. You will be called upon by the name you entered. You can also join the meeting by calling 669-900-6833. Enter meeting ID number 826-00335333. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, press 9 to let us know you would like to speak. You will be called upon by the last 3 digits of your phone number. After you're called upon, you may press 6 to unmute yourself. For those who are attending this meeting in person and would like to provide public comment, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. All speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. I will alert you when your time is up.
Moving on to public comments on non-agenda items. Madam Secretary, does anyone wish to speak?
If you're attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on non-agenda items, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on non-agenda items, please select the hand icon and unmute yourself. If you're calling in and would like to comment on non-agenda items, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait for a few seconds. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Okay. Moving on to the consent calendar, one motion for all consent items unless an item has been pulled for separate discussion. Is there a motion to approve item A, the minutes from the October 5th, 2023, and item B, excused absences? Do we have any commissioners needing excused absences?
Commissioner Cornelius did email earlier today.
Okay, all right. Secretary, please call for I'm sorry, we need to have a motion. Would like to make a motion.
I will.
Commissioner Christie makes a motion, seconded by Commissioner Marashi. All right. Madam Clerk, if you'd call the vote, please.
Commissioner Christie,
Yes.
Commissioner Cornelius, Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Hardy, Commissioner Hadigi,
Yes.
Commissioner Shipp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Marashi,
Yes.
Chair Rush.
Yes.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Cornelius, Commissioner Escamilla, and Commissioner Hardy absent.
Okay. That concludes the consent calendar. Moving on to the business calendar section. The session, I will now review the process for the public hearing so that everyone knows what to expect. Staff will first provide a presentation and answer questions from the commission. The public hearing will then be opened. The applicant will be given the opportunity to speak, limited to 15 minutes. Members of the public will then be given the opportunity to comment, each limited to 3 minutes. The applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to comments made by the public, limited to 5 minutes. The public hearing will then be closed. Discussion will return to the commission with formal action taken to approve, deny, or continue review of the application. Please consider the following suggestions when organizing your comments. Please state your name and address. State whether you support, oppose, or are neutral to the proposal. Your statement should include all pertinent facts within your knowledge. Please note the formal action by the Historic Resources Commission shall become effective after the 10-day appeal period unless the City Council holds a public hearing on the matter. Then the formal action will become effective on the day following the hearing and decision by the City Council. An appeal from the decision or requirement of the commission must be filed with the clerk of the council and a copy sent to the planning department within 10 days of the date of the commission's action. The appeal may be made by any interested party, individual, or group. This is the time and place for Historic Resource Commission application number 2023-18, Historic Register categorization number 2023-05, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement number 2023-11 for the property located at 1607 North Freeman Street. That is a mistake saying Freeman Lane, located within the single-family residence R1 zoning district. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item? Please state your name before commenting.
Commissioner Christie, I visited the property Saturday morning, but did not speak with the occupants. They were not at home.
Okay. Tim Rush, Commissioner, did also visit the property earlier today, but I didn't greet the occupants or homeowner. Okay, Andrea Dumovich Haywood will now provide a brief presentation from staff.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. It's nice to see you all again. Item number 1 is for the Rogers Mansfield House. This item is to request to place the property address 1607 North Freeman Street. I'm correcting it as street, even though the report says lane. On the Santa Ana Register, and to execute a Mills Act agreement with the property owner. Staff recommends approval of this item. The Rogers Mansfield House is a minimal traditional style house constructed in 1948. It's located in Washington Square. The architect and builder are unknown. The house qualifies for listing in the Santa Ana Register of Historical Properties under Criterion 1 as an intact example of the minimal traditional style home in Santa Ana. The recommended categorization is key because it has a distinctive architectural style and quality reflective of the minimal traditional style, along with the rare wood shingle siding. Character defining features of the house include, but may not be limited to the following. Its L-shaped plan, single-story massing, side gabled body with a prominent front gable, medium pitch roof with shallow eaves, wood shingle siding, original windows with prominent wood window sill and trim that are located on all building facades, front and rear porch, each supported by a single wood post located on a raised concrete platform. The main entrance location, which is within the front porch, a brick chimney, overall lack of ornamentation, front yard lawn with landscaping, including two mature trees, and a detached garage featuring the wood shingle siding and a single pedestrian door with operable light. The recommended category to list this property is key. And then as a refresher, I've included this slide that explains the key category requirements for listing. They include any building structure, object, or site which has a distinctive architectural style and quality, is characteristic of a significant period in the history of the city, and or is associated with a significant person or event in the city. And then here we have 3 additional photos of the property. Starting with the upper left photo, shows the prominent front gable and the brick chimney. The middle photo is the main entrance location, which is under the covered porch area. And then the far right photo is one of the original wood windows with prominent wood window sill and trim. Staff recommends that the commission adopt a resolution to approve HRCA number 2023-18 and HRC 2023-05 and recommend City Council authorize HPPA number 2023-11. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Do any commissioners have questions? Commissioner Christie?
Okay, thank you so much. This is a very unique home. I don't know, I've never seen a home with shingles before in the period. And do you know when they built this, was it common to have shingles on the house?
I don't know if it was common. My understanding, this is a variant of the minimal traditional. It is rare. I haven't seen any in the neighborhood. So that is why we elevated it to the key as opposed to contributive level. But it's a variant of the minimal traditional style.
And on here with this, I mean, it's so unique and so rare. And I don't know if we have a company that would replace this in case any damage. Do you know?
I don't have a specific company, but there are guides on how to maintain shingle siding and repairing them or replacing them individually. But it can be done and takes a lot of labor.
Okay. I do know that overall future improvement proposed to the home, especially the wood framing, which is one of the things I'm assuming that's going to be part of that we're going to be following up. It's because of the fact that if you look at the wood frame, it does need repair for all the windows going on across there. So coming up, we will be following
Yes, I
and
believe
monitoring that.
that should be in the work plan to repair any windows they are in need of some repair.
Okay. And one of the things was, could you go back to the front door?
You can kind of see it in the middle photo.
Okay, so this is non-traditional to go with this, right?
So that door is not original to the home and it has been identified as part of the work plan for the Mills Act to replace it with a more appropriate style door.
And that style would be,
We'd have to determine that, but staff would work with the applicant to find the appropriate style for the minimal traditional.
well, thank you very much.
Are there any other commissioners with questions? Commissioner Harigi?
Actually, I do recall the house because I have done work in the past in Washington Square and I've driven by Fremont. I sold another property in Fremont. And I admired it because the minimalist with the wood siding, they've been disappearing. I've been watching these properties throughout the city and there have been other wood sidings, but people start taking them off and putting stucco. And it's a shame. So I'm very glad this is preserved, but I recognize the property.
I can see why it's a key factor because this is rare. And I applaud the owners. I don't know if they're in the house. Hi, thank you so much for putting on our register and protecting this.
Okay, Andrea, I have a couple of questions. By the way, there are several other homes in Washington Square with shingle siding. There's one on in the one, or what would it be, 10,000 block or whatever of Lowell Street. There's one in the 900 block of Freeman. Tom Lutz's home at 1118 Freeman is shingle style. And to answer your question, Alberta, the siding is, you use shingles, wood shingles like you'd use, split wood shingles like you'd use on a roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom has probably replaced most all of his over the years because of termite damage and so forth. So anyway, just as an aside. But my questions are with regard to, apparently you've had conversations with the owner with regard to some improvements to make it more period perfect. Would you go back, let's see, show the picture of well, you can see it here in the top left picture. That middle window, which I assume is a living room, right? Why does that look odd to me? That giant piece of glass. That seems so out of place.
Let me see if there's another picture we have.
I can't imagine that home was originally built with a living room window on a house like this, so large. I know that it was barely after World War II that glass that large could even be made, but is that original? I mean, I can't imagine that's original. There must have been mullions in that window.
It might not be original. I don't have an original photo, so I don't know for sure.
Well, I don't want to stand in the way of their getting on the register, but if they're going to do other work, that ought to be researched. That disturbs me because it's a prominent window. It's right where your eye goes. First thing when you look at the house. The other window I have a question about is over what I'm assuming is probably the kitchen sink. There's a 1/1 window. And it seems like it would be 4/4 or 2/2 or something.
Is that,
That would be on the driveway side. So that would be on the south elevation of the house.
I don't have a photo of that with me right now. But I can look into
I
that.
have a suspicion that is not original. I used to own a minimal traditional style home in Washington Square. And the windows were 2/2. But again, that living room window is disturbing to me. But I'll sleep tonight. Anyway, are there any other comments? Okay. At this point, the public hearing is now open. Does the commission have any comments or questions for the applicant? I guess is the applicant here? Okay. Why don't you folks come forward if you would, please? Okay, all right. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Oh, I'm waiting for them to speak.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess at this time, you get a chance to share with us all of your hopes and dreams for the house.
I'm Robin Taylor. This is my husband,
I'm Daniel.
Daniel
Sorry
Taylor.
we missed you the other day.
Oh, yeah, or I guess it was.
You didn't know I was coming. I
Yeah,
know
it's
you,
today.
you would have baked a cake. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We're so honored to be here, even just seeing kind of your process and even hearing you talk about our house. I even felt emotional just that we get the honor to have our house even be considered as historic. We feel very connected to Santa Ana. We moved from South Coast Metro area a little over a year ago and specifically wanted to move to Santa Ana. We did a little bit of just kind of thinking and where we would want to go in Orange County, if Orange County, and just really fell in love with more that we learned about the neighborhoods here and the downtown and the historic pieces of it. And so we really can't picture ourselves living anywhere else in Orange County at this point, especially living here.
Yeah, I grew up in South Orange County in Laguna Niguel. And so I've always loved Orange County. It's home, and
How sad for you.
I'm proud of where I grew up. I really am. I used to think when I was a kid, like how cool it was, the history of a 20-year-old city or something like that. It's not that old. But yeah, being here and seeing our house, I'm already proud of it. I'm proud of where we live now. I don't think I'd want to be anywhere else in Orange County. I don't necessarily want to be back in Laguna Niguel. I want to be here. But it's amazing to now know what kind of history is here. 1869, I think, like compared to whatever Laguna Niguel is in 1991 or something like that. But it's pretty incredible to be in a place that historic and to walk through downtown and see all the old buildings that are still there and businesses are inhabiting. It's just it's a special opportunity to just be there, but also to be having this opportunity to have it registered as well. And the wood shingle, I do love myself. I worked on a lot this year, stripping old paint, priming, and we painted the house, and it was pretty annoying to do piece by piece, but it was cool at the end to be proud of preserving that part of the house and not just wanting to take it away. So I'm also curious about how to preserve it too, or if we have to replace it someday. I'd want to know about that.
Did you want to comment on any of the questions that any of us raised, particularly some of mine?
Yeah, I don't know about the front window either. It's something that we liked about the house when we first saw it. Yeah, the
Single pane of glass?
the big window. And we commented on it to our realtor, but he didn't have any comment. So I'm not sure personally about that either. We went last year to try and find photos of the house at the library and weren't successful, but I'd be curious. Overall, I think that knowing there's things that we can change to make it fit the history, it actually feels motivating to me. If we're here and we're doing this, I want it to fit like it should in the history.
Okay, well, I'm sure that Andrea can be of help to you in getting closer to that point, but yes, Alberta, Commissioner Christie.
How long when did you purchase the home?
It was April 2022. Yeah. Yeah,
This year?
2022, last year. Yeah.
Last year. Okay, so it was already installed in there and that's a shame.
Yeah, we know that we had talked to the previous owners, well, through our realtor because we had already had on our radar that, being listed as a historic home was something we would want to do if we moved in. And they did not report any changes to, windows, because we asked about the original windows, and as far as everyone was concerned, that's at least what they reported, that it was, that as far as they knew, it was original, at least to them. I think we're the fourth owners. And so there's only been 3 others before.
Before that, okay. And then also with this, your savings on taxes is approximately about $970. With the Mills Act that, welcome that, that you're able to do. And we always like people from South County coming into our, welcome to reality, real history, culture. But you're in a good neighborhood association. We have 64 neighborhood associations throughout Santa Ana and where, and it's a community.
Oh, yeah.
Live there. A lot of prominent
Yeah.
people are there, and they know a lot about the area and the home. And like I said, former Mayor Pro Tem Tom Lutz lives on. And
Do I see Tom Lutz in the audience? Apparently not. There's a gentleman here that looks an awful lot like him.
No.
But I thought, my goodness, how was it that I could walk past Tom?
But-
I've known him
But
forever.
anyway, but
Oh, yeah.
as you saw, those homes are very distinctive. A pride in that area, so we welcome you, and thank you for preserving part of our Santa Ana history. That house only cost $10,000 in 1978, right?
That was different last year.
Speaking of Tom Lutz, he has you'll have to go down and knock on his door. He has a movie that one of his relatives took of Freeman Street. And his home was built in 39, I think. And he's at 1118, so he's further down the street from where you are. But he's just south of Washington. But that area north of Washington, it was all orchards. I think it was, I believe, walnut orchards. And it's kind of fun to see that black and white movie. Kind of amazing, so hence his home built in 39, yours came along in 48 after that was subdivided. So, but anyway.
Now, what years the orchards were taken out and the homes were built?
Well, Tom's house was built in, I think, 39. And so sometime probably after the war, most likely, sometime right after the war, that the orchards were taken out and those, I think the street was in, but no, it wasn't. Street wasn't in. So streets were, platted out and it was subdivided. And in those days, it was common for a builder to buy 2 or 3 or 4 lots and build several custom homes. That's why in that area and in many parts of town, you have Emmett Rogers and Roy Russell, who are the predominant builders in that neighborhood. And I don't know that Tom and Nancy know who the architect was on their home. Could have been the same for yours, but he has the original plans. So,
Oh,
but anyway.
interesting.
You
Okay.
can't miss their home on Freeman Street, when you go to Washington and Freeman, their house is red. You
Barn
can't
red
miss
with
it.
white trim.
Right, and so forth, so you can't miss it. To welcome you. That's, they have a wealth of knowledge there. Probably answer some of your questions. Knows they may know about the window to that house, so.
They have shingles on their house as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know that house.
I
yeah,
think we met
Seen
them
it.
at the first Washington Square gathering we went to.
yeah.
So, yeah, that would be really helpful. We would definitely like to learn more about the window. I mean, it's been a fun process jumping into the historic room in the library and figuring out everything we can about Emmett C. Rogers. Even though we don't know if that's the original owner or if he was just the builder of our home, but yeah, I think we can get more information.
Well, it wasn't unusual that they would build a home, live in it for 6 months till they sold it, and then, so that could be the case as well. But anyway, thank you for your comments. Madam Recording Secretary, have we received any written communication, or is there a member of the public that wishes to speak or comment on this item?
We have not received written communication. If you're attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon and unmute yourself. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Madam Recording Secretary, I know that there was a letter I was sent to me by Tom Lutz on behalf of Washington Square Neighborhood Association advocating for approval of this. So if I assume that he sent this also to the city, but
I did
apparently
not,
not.
no, I
Huh?
did not receive anything on our
Well,
email.
Is it possible that I can forward that document to you? It's a letter of approval. It's not objecting to their being listed. So I would think you may note that it was received after the fact, but he really did send it. I mean, I got the letter last week. I
Yes.
just assumed that he'd sent it to the city, but he CC'd me.
Chair, that's certainly possible. We'll add it to the record.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
All right. Okay. The public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve this matter in a second?
Just one quick comment.
Yes.
Sure. I did some research in the Orange County Register, like I usually do. I mean, the Santa Ana Register. I couldn't find anything. However, when you do look at Google Street View, the June 2008 view shows that same exact window. And the 2011 even shows more detail, though you can see some damage and things to the wood frame around the large window. So it's been there previous to at least 2008, probably longer than that. Just
Yes, Commissioner Shipp.
In addition, our house has that same size window. That was the common size of the windows that were built in those houses at that time. So that window there is just an updated version of.
As
when
a
it was-
single pane of glass.
Yeah, yeah. We have that same size window right there at our house.
Well, snap my garter. I said corrected. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. So noted. Do we have a motion and a second?
Chair, I move
Yes.
to adopt resolution approving Historic Resource Commission application number 2023-18 and Historic Register categorization number 2023-5. And number 2, recommend that the city authorize the city manager and clerk of the council to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with Daniel and Robin Taylor, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the city manager and city attorney.
Okay, do we have a second? Commissioner Harrigy seconds. Madam Secretary, would you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Christie,
Yes.
Commissioner Cornelius, Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Hardy, Commissioner Haudagi,
Yes.
Commissioner Shipp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Marashi,
yes.
Chair Rush.
Yes.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Cornelius, Escamilla, and Hardy absent.
Okay, congratulations. All right. This is the time and place for Historic Resources Commission application 2023-19, Historic Register categorization 2023-04, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement number 2023-10 for the property located at 2028 North Greenleaf Street, located within the single-family R1 zoning district. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item?
Commissioner Christie, I visited the property Saturday morning also and did not speak to the occupants. They
Okay.
were not home.
Any other commissioners? Okay. I'm Tim Rush, Commissioner, and I did visit the property this morning. I did not speak to anyone, but I did visit the property. Okay, now, Andrea Dumovich Haywood will now provide a brief presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 2 is for the CP Johnson House. This item is a request to place the property addressed 2028 North Greenleaf Street on the Santa Ana Register and to execute a Mills Act agreement with the property owner. Staff recommends approval of this item. The CP Johnson House, bless you, is a Tudor Revival style house constructed in 1928. It is located in the Floral Park National Register Historic District and is a district contributor. The Floral Park National Register District is also automatically listed in the California Register of Historical Resources. The architect and builder are unknown. The house qualifies for listing in the Santa Ana Register of Historical Properties under Criterion 1 as an intact example of a Tudor Revival style home in Santa Ana. The recommended categorization is key because it has distinctive architectural style and quality reflective of the Tudor Revival style. Character defining features of the house include, but may not be limited to, the following: its irregular shaped building footprint and massing, asymmetrical primary facade, complex roof form with multiple gable roof system featuring steeply pitched gables and dormers, large side gabled roof visible at the primary facade that is reflective of the French eclectic style, central chimney, sand finish stucco siding, open brick patio at the primary facade, primary entrance within a steeply pitched front-facing gable that features an arched wood door with an arched operable light behind a decorative wrought iron grille and metal hardware. All original wood windows throughout, which are primarily multi-pane casement and double hung style, as well as one single leaded glass window. Hood moldings, projecting angles within the roof and often above windows, the detached garage, and the front yard with landscaping, including mature trees and shrubs. And as I said earlier, the recommended category to list this property is key. And then again, here's the key category overview. I won't read it again since I read it previously, but it's here for reference. And then additional photos. So on the far left, you can see the steeply pitched front facing gable at the primary facade with dormers at the south side facade. The middle photo shows the main entrance with an arched door under a steeply pitched gable. And then the far right photo shows dormers at the roof level with the double casement wood windows all at the rear. Staff recommends that the commission adopt a resolution to approve HRCA number 2023-19 and HRC 2023-04 and recommend that the city council authorize HPPA number 2023-10. And thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Do any commissioners have questions of staff? I have a question. On the rear, what would that be? The west facade where those two dormers are? What, is that an awning that's hanging down? Is that what that is?
Yes, there's an awning.
Oh, okay. I thought, what in the heck is that? All right. Okay, that's my only question. No other questions of the commissioners? Okay. Public hearing is now open. Does the commission have any comments or questions for the applicant?
Um,
Commissioner Christie,
I just want to say, I don't know if the applicant is here or not.
why don't you come forward, sir? You're the fellow that could be Tom Lutz's brother.
Yeah.
Tom Lutz.
Huh?
I am not Tom Lutz.
No, you could be its brother. That sounds.
My name's Charles Chuck Lake,
Lake.
and my wife Julie could not be here tonight, but we've been residents. We've owned the house since 1989. I don't know all the previous owners, but at least 3 of previous owners have visited the house while we've owned it and told us stories about the house and how much they loved living there. And we love living there too. We're among the oldest residents on our street in terms of ownership. I'm a native Orange County, and I grew up in Garden Grove in a house built by my grandparents in 1926. So I have historical roots inside of me, if you will. I moved to Santa Ana in 1974. We bought the house in 1989. So we're very pleased and honored to be able to continue to be what we consider caretakers of this very historical piece of property.
I'd like to say
Commissioner Christie, go ahead.
that's so important with your statement as caretakers. Guys, that property is magnificent.
Thank you.
You've taken care of that property very well. Only the buildings, but also the landscaping, everything was just kind of make that home stand out on that whole block. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for coming in and putting it on our historic register now in our 3rd historic district instead of Floral Park. And also with the Mills Act to keep it up.
Welcome. Thank you.
Are there any other questions of the applicant, Commissioner
No,
Harigi?
no questions, but I have driven by Greenleaf, not recently, but before, but I am familiar with the facade. When we walk Floral Park for different events, and thank you for thinking that way. Yes, we are caretakers of our treasures, of our jewels, and we want to keep them going on for the next generations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sir, did you have any additional statements you wanted to make about living there or being on the register or anything?
No, we're just, we should have done this a long time ago. We've treated it as an historical property ever since we bought it, and now we're just kind of making it official, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
And the
Okay.
fees were reduced,
All right.
right?
Right.
Madam Recording Secretary, have we received any written communication, or is there a member of the public that would like to comment on this item?
We have not received written communication. If you're attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon to unmute yourself. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Okay, all right. Sir, you are free to return to your
Okay,
seat.
thank you
No
very
more
much.
torture from us. The public hearing is now closed. And is there a motion and a second to approve this matter? Commissioner Marashi was making the motion. Do we have a second?
I've got to read it. That we adopt a resolution approving Historic Resources Commission application number 2023-19 and Historic Register categorization number 2023-4. Also recommend that the city council authorize the city manager and the clerk of the council to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with Charles William Lake and Julie S. Lake as trustees of the Charles William Lake and Julie S. Lake 2002 Family Trust dated September 20th, 2002, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the city manager and city attorney.
Okay, I got ahead of myself. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Christie seconds it. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you like to do a roll call?
Commissioner Christie,
Yes.
Commissioner Cornelius, Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Hardy, Commissioner Haudagi,
Yes.
Commissioner Ship,
Yes.
Vice Chair Marashi,
Yes.
Chair Rush.
Yes.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Hardy, and Commissioner Cornelius absent.
Okay, congratulations. All right, this is the time and place for historic exterior modification application number 2023-08 for the property located at 625 South Cypress Avenue, located in the two-family R2 residential zoning district. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item?
Commissioner Christie, yes. I went by property and walked the property on Saturday.
Okay. I'm going to guess you didn't talk to any occupants there. If they were uninvited guests. Little rats. Okay. Commissioner Hargy?
I am very familiar with the building that for years I've always seen it and appreciated for its history. And a few years ago, when it was considered being put to sale, I advocated to keep one of our assets and bring it back to the city to preserve it and have it and look for the highest and best use. But most of all, preserve the facade and as much as historical character as possible. So yes.
I like to say I was a neighborhood leader at that time. We lobbied to keep that. And I lobbied when I was on the city council, so.
Commissioners, as a friendly reminder, the disclosure segment is to disclose if you've had any interactions with a property owner. If you have comments on supporting or opinions on the project, that's typically done during the deliberative portion of the project discussions. But thank you for your sentiments.
Okay, Andrea Dumovich Haywood will now provide a brief presentation.
Okay, thank you. Item number 3 is for the historic exterior modification application for the Cypress Fire Station. The application is for HEMA number 2023-08, located at 625 South Cypress Avenue. The project includes a historic exterior modification application to allow exterior modifications consisting of full restoration of the primary facade, partial restoration of the north, south, and east facades, removal of a 964 square foot rear addition, an interior tenant improvements, and American with Disabilities or ADA alterations that will require removal and or relocation of secondary rear facade door and windows. Staff recommends approval of HEMA 2023-08 as conditioned. Site aerial. The subject property is located in the Pacific Park neighborhood on the east side of Cypress Avenue, between Camille Street to the north and Bishop Street to the south. And to its east, it is east of South Main Street and west of Orange Avenue. The Cypress Fire Station was constructed in 1928 as a Spanish colonial revival fire station. It is currently an institutional building, however, it is vacant. It is the oldest fire station in Santa Ana, known as Fire Station number 4. It is listed as number 15 on the Santa Ana Register, and it was listed in 2002 at the key category. Currently, all the windows and doors are boarded up for security purposes. And then here we have a historic image of the fire station, undated, but you can see the original fire station doors, the double doors, and the main entrance under the arched bay. So the project, as I said, it's both a restoration and a rehabilitation project. So I'll first describe the restoration work. It includes full restoration of the primary west facade, which will include restoration of the clay tile roof, the original fire station doors and windows, the original engine company number 4 signage on the front, all the stucco siding, and the decorative frieze tiles with the wrought iron grille at the front. The restoration also includes removal of the 964 square foot non-original rear addition to restore the building back to its original footprint. Restoration also includes north facade, leaded glass window, and additional windows at the north, south, and east facades. And then as well as tile restoration at the north and south facades. And then there's a small note at the bottom which reads that the original features that will be restored in kind throughout as feasible, where deterioration is beyond repair and or where original features are no longer extant, those features will be replaced to match the original design and material. Just a disclaimer that we don't know the exact conditions of every opening because they are concealed, but the intent is to repair first, and if it can't be repaired, to replace to match. For rehabilitation work, the scope includes a new multi-purpose use, which requires the following modifications to the building. First, the new interior partitions, which will have a new layout, including a new entrance/office space, 3 new multiple purpose rooms, a new kitchen, new restrooms, and a new janitorial space. Also, the removal and relocation of doors and windows at the secondary facades will be necessary to accommodate the interior layout and the ADA site compliance. And then there are 2 original double hung windows at the south facade, originally located lower than their adjacent windows, and the plan is to raise those windows to create a uniform window height. Similarly, there's 1 original double hung window at the north facade, and that window will also be raised to create uniform window height. And then this slide is just for informational purposes. This is the administrative HEMA items. They don't require discretionary review, but they're part of the application. And they include removal of non-original concrete infill at the primary facade, new front yard landscape, removal of existing non-original front yard metal fence and gate, and replacement with compatible 3-foot tall front yard and fence, front yard fence. A new 8-foot tall CMU block wall and an 8-foot tall metal security gate will be added to the rear. There'll be a new basketball court with 2 new parking spaces at the rear. And then lastly, new ADA exterior compliance, which includes rear curb ramp and parking space. The existing and proposed site plan. So the red box to the left indicates the primary west facade restoration work. The center arrow points to the new interior layout, which will require some exterior door and window modifications. And then lastly, at the rear shows the removal of a non-original carport addition. So proposed first floor plan. The top left box points to the original apparatus room that will be rehabilitated into a multi-purpose room. This was the room where the fire trucks and the firefighting equipment was originally stored, and the space will remain open, keeping with the original layout. Moving on, new interior restrooms will be added, which will require infill of original doors and modifications to existing windows. The rear yard area, I'll move on where my mouse is. The rear yard area will be modified to accommodate 2 new parking spaces and a basketball court. And then lastly, a new hall will be added near the south, which will require removal of existing windows for a new door to access the hallway. Here we have the existing and proposed primary west elevations. So the top elevation shows existing conditions. As mentioned, the doors and windows are presently covered for security purposes. The clay tile roof and the decorative wrought iron grille near the roof line are partially damaged. And the lower elevation shows the proposed elevation, which will be fully restored, fully restored along with original signage, as you can see, to match that was seen in the historic photo. The original fire truck entrance double doors will be restored, as well as the main entrance under the arched bay. The upper tiles, wrought iron grille, and clay tile roof will all be restored. Here you can have a closer look of some of the items I just mentioned, showing their existing condition. You can see the damaged roof tiles, the original spotted tile that will be cleaned, the damaged wrought iron grille, and there's a note about the stucco siding that will be matched as needed in the areas of repair. Now we're looking at the existing side north elevation. I'm going to move clockwise, starting with the upper left corner. So this red box indicates the removal of the rear carport at the back. The 2 red boxes here will be removal of 2 doors with 2 transoms to make room for the new restroom. And the doors will be salvaged for the rear if possible. If the condition allows it, they'll be salvaged. Down here with the black arrows, it's pointing to these items that aren't boxed in, but they'll all be restored. The windows and the siding will all be restored, won't be touched. This blue arrow points to raising this existing window higher to match the height of these existing windows. The purpose for that is to provide more privacy because this is going to be a bathroom. And then the green arrow indicates a window that will be removed for the restroom area. It will be infilled, and this window will be salvaged if possible and placed on the rear. Okay, again, starting at the upper left corner. Now we're looking at the proposed side north elevation. So instead of the rear addition, we are looking at a new 8-foot tall block wall. Here you can see new double hung windows that are indicated in red. And the one blue window that is existing, that one will be raised again to meet the height. And then the orange arrow indicates an existing leaded glass window that will be fully restored. Okay, existing side south elevation. So for this one, the blue arrow indicates these 2 windows here, double hung windows, will be raised to match the height of the existing windows to the right of it. The purpose for this change is because so the interior layout will be changing. Originally, there was a wall between these 2 pairs of windows, but now the wall will be removed. And so when you're looking inside the space, the windows are not equal in height. So the intention is to uniform the look of the windows inside and out because it's no longer a divided room. In the red box in the center, we have the removal of these two double hung windows to make way for the hallway entrance. So there will be a door going here. These windows will be salvaged and put at the rear. And here we have another look at the carport along the south elevation, which will be removed. And then I'm just going to go back to the front. In the orange, we're looking at restoring the front portion of the building. There was fire damage, and a door is currently missing right where my mouse is. So this area will be restored. Now we are looking at the same elevation, but proposed south side elevation. So now, again, in orange, this area is being restored. You can now see the two windows that were lower. They have been raised. And then now there's a new door that's out in the red outline where the windows previously were. And there is the 8-foot tall wall in the back. The existing rear east elevation shows there will be a removal of a non-original door in red, which will be infilled with stucco siding to match. In green, we have the removal of another non-original door that will be infilled with the relocated windows from the south elevation we were just looking at. So now we have the proposed east elevation. You can see the two relocated windows that were on the south are now here. And we have in blue, we have a new door with transom that's possibly salvaged from the north if available, if it's in good condition. Otherwise, a new door will be placed there. So the Secretary of Interior standards, this project complies with, we analyze both the rehabilitation and the restoration standards. So it complies with rehabilitation standards 1 through 6 and 9 through 10. Standards 7 through 8 are not applicable. It complies with restoration standards 1 through 8 and 9 through 10 are not applicable. It complies with guidelines for preserving, rehabilitating, restoring, and reconstructing historic buildings. And then this is just an overview for the ones that were not applicable. Rehabilitation standard 7 relates to chemical or physical treatments, which are not currently being proposed for this project. And then rehab standard 8 and restoration standard 9 are both related to archaeology, which is not relevant right now with this project. And restoration standard 10 states that designs that were never executed historically will not be constructed, and that is not being proposed for the restoration work. So in conclusion, staff recommends that the commission adopt a resolution approving a certificate of appropriateness for historic exterior modification application number 2023-08 as conditioned. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Does the commission have any questions or comments for staff? Commissioner Christie?
Yeah, Andrea, do you know when that rear carport was put on?
We don't know the exact date. I think we narrowed it down. But we checked aerial footage and Sanborn maps, permit history, and none of it indicates the exact construction date, but it hints of knowing that there was a covered patio permitted, which it might be a remnant of, but we don't have a precise date.
So this was after it was placed on our register in 2002?
No, it was constructed before then.
During the time?
Yeah, so the building was built in 1928, and I think the staff report states that even though we don't know the build date of the addition, looks like it might have been in the 40s or 50s is when we first see it.
So that could have been where the firefighters park their cars, right in the back or
Well, they parked the truck in the building, but like personal car,
personal car?
yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. There is quite, I know that I know Commissioner Hardy and her neighborhood association. There's a lot of damage inside the, they had a gentleman breaking in all the time and the police couldn't do anything about it. And, one of the things that we were after was what the patrols, and I know we have our new Parks and Recreation Director, Hawk. Is that correct? Your name, Hawk? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I only met him once at our neighborhood meeting, but anyway, his name is Hawk. That was on, and I mean, the previous park executives, we have, community and the city and residents and preservationists have been really after them. Code has done as much as possible, in bringing the attention and securing. I mean, the security of that. I noticed that on the front door is padlocked. I mean, that padlock is not secure. When I was walking the property and everything, it's just a padlock. And I've looked around the neighborhood association. A padlock's not gonna keep anybody in. I mean, out of going, defer anything to defer them from not breaking into that, especially during the time that you're going to be starting all of this renovation, which is quite a bit. I don't know what the projective budget is for that, but it's a shame. One of the things that we hope is that once this building is completed, that will there be ample security so we do not have people breaking in and destroying it like they did, now, to cause as much damage. As a taxpayer, I'm looking at this and going, are you kidding me? Much damage has been done and it's been neglected. This property has been neglected. So I just hope that in this, that we're going to have also, are we going to have a plaque? Is that going to be required that that building is historic? Is that one of the things too, that once it gets built, that we have the historic plaque?
That is one of the conditions.
Okay, no problem, but this is a long-term project, long-term. And I'm still concerned about the security of that building. Maybe the Parks and Rec can address that issue because it's in a neighborhood that's not that safe. I hate to say it's not that safe. And a lot of protection.
Are there any other commissioners that have comments? Commissioner Harrigan?
Yes, this is a long time coming. I've been watching this.
Now
building.
remember, all right, you've got questions of staff because your
Questions?
comments
No.
can come later.
Just comments that I'm glad to see that the windows will be, because my eye was going, that you're evening the windows and the big ones on the north and the south, they'll be refurbished or brought back to the way they were with the arch. So that's, I'm very thrilled to see that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other commissioners have questions of staff? I have a question, and that is, this building looks an awful lot like something that would have been designed by Frederick H. Ely, who did a lot of stuff in Santa Ana. I'm sure you've looked into that, and we presume it was some copycat.
So the DPR form from 2002 says the architect is unknown. So, yeah, we don't know, but it could be.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, it would be nice to add to the prominence. These windows that are gonna be replaced, I assume those are gonna be wood windows, right?
Yes. You're talking about the new windows or?
Well, the old windows are gonna be restored and the new windows will be wood
Yes,
as original, right?
yes.
Okay,
One of the conditions though for the new style windows is to make it slightly different than the original windows so that we know that it was added as a new window.
but they will be wood windows?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay, so there's no other questions by commissioners of staff. All right, the public hearing is now open. Does the commission have any comments for the applicant? I think we've just blown through that. The applicant is the city, right? Am I not correct? Yeah, okay. Would the applicant like to speak? Who would that be?
Good evening, commissioners. I'm Susie Perjanik. I'm with the Park Services Division of Public Works. And I'm Jen Dunbar with Dunbar Architecture, so. And first, I want to thank everybody that had a role in saving this building. We were, at the direction of City Council, Public Works was tasked with restoring this building for use as a community center by the Pacific Park neighborhood. That's what we're here to do, and very enthusiastically ready. And
Actually, I do want to address one of the comments. This is actually a Frederick Ellie building. We have the original drawings for it.
Oh, it is?
Yes,
Well,
yeah, it is. We
snap my
have,
garter. How about that?
yes, so we actually have all of the drawings from foundation to building
And
sections.
where, pray tell, did you find those?
They were handed over to us. So we
And
actually.
yet it's not on the DPR form.
It's, yeah, I don't know why it's not on the DPR form, or, I mean, it could have been that the drawings were discovered after the DPR form was filled out. I'm not sure. But I think the DPR form was done a while ago, but yeah, we have the full set of original drawings.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well-
I have the PDFs of that.
Glad I asked.
So actually, the interesting thing as we've been doing all of the drawings for this, we've had very specific information on what the doors and windows look like because we have that information in hand. So anything that we've been drawing is essentially a recreation from the original drawings.
And the wonderful thing about drawings from that era is that they were incredibly detailed, which today they wouldn't give you that kind of detail, but.
Yeah, we got some good details, so
That's
that's
wonderful.
good.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I too would echo Alberta's comments. The vandalism that has gone on there is shocking. I'll bet the city has spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 to $10 million over the last 25, 30 years trying to have that just to keep the place from being burnt down. It's shocking the amount of money that the city has spent. It's for some reason in that neighborhood, nobody seems to really care much about that building. Even the people who live next door and on both sides. Maybe now, once it's restored, they will, but pretty amazing, the level of vandalism in there. There was a guy, Alberta, you may recall, who lived there. Police couldn't get rid of him, who was tunneling. He was tunneling. The neighbors next door said they could hear him tunneling at night. So, shocking. Anyway, have we received any written correspondence, or is there anyone like to speak?
We have not received written communication. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you're participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon and unmute yourself. If you're calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait for a few seconds. No, this one, in the middle of the podium. Okay.
Why don't you fill that out when you're finished, but why don't you introduce yourself, give us your
Okay.
address and so forth.
Okay, my name is Susana Sandoval, and I'm a Wilshire Square resident, 1318 South Birch Street. And this has been a long time coming. Even we acknowledge all the challenges and the safety, but I believe once the work begins and it is completed, I think the neighborhood is going to embrace that ownership. Just like with Pacific Park, we fought to get that park constructed, and the residents and the neighbors help take care of it. They're very vigilant. The bathrooms, we don't have any drugs going on there that we have seen. So I really want to thank the staff and all of you as commissioners, because this has been a long time coming. And you're right, that neighborhood is pretty rough, but I think this is going to be the shiny diamond that's going to emerge, and that residents will take ownership and take care of it. Thank you.
Okay, don't forget to fill out the form for the clerk. So do we have no other speakers?
No, we have no other speakers.
Okay, all right. Is there anyone else that have a comment?
We get to ask questions of the architect.
Oh, sure. Yes, by all means.
Just two questions. Number one, on a personal level, this must be pretty exciting for you to be able to work on something historic like the first original fire station in Santa Ana.
Yes.
So can you tell us about that? And the second question is, the wood windows that are going to be brand new need to be slightly different, so you know that they're not the original windows. How do you propose making them slightly different?
Okay. Okay, so the first question, how excited am I to work on this building? I am very excited. My background is in historic architecture. I studied at Cal Poly Pomona, got my master's there, and did a concentration in historic preservation. So this is near and dear to my heart. I have a couple, I'll try to be really quick on this, but I came down to Santa Ana I had a project going on here, and I happened to wander into the Ebell Club. And from there, it ended up, I have this love affair with Santa Ana. And oddly enough, made these connections about the fact that Frederick Ellie designed the Ebell Club, and happened to come across this project when the RFP came out. And so when I did the proposal for it, I really poured my heart and soul into the proposal. And when Susie called me and announced that to tell me that I won the project, she'll probably remember that I was actually kind of cried on the phone because I was so excited that I won it. So I'm very excited. This is a very special project. I know it's a very special project for the community. I know it's a special project for the city. It's a special project for me. So I am very thankful that I'm actually getting to work on this. We have an amazing team, a design team that is all very much in the same like-mindedness of this. I have a landscape architect who actually is more of a residential architect that we brought on to this project. And she's very excited because we see this as an opportunity to create community engagement, even with a very small landscape portion of like the front yard. So there's a lot of different things about it that it's a small building, but it is, I think, in my opinion, has a big impact and will have a big impact on the community. So the second question regarding the windows, I think that for the most part, we are really going to make a very big effort to try to reuse as much original material as we can on the building. And so it's still difficult for us to tell how much actually will be reusable, but we are going to really try to make that work. Where we're putting in new windows, I think for the most part, there will be maybe you know, some elements to it that might be slightly different, but we will have original drawings that we can recall and work from. And that will pretty much be our base. Things that we might be able to do with a newer window is we might be able to do double glazing and for a little bit more oomph on our, you know, on our energy use. But for the most part, we're going to be looking at if we have to do divided lights, those are true divided lights, and really stick to the idea of what this building and how these components all came together. So, you know, how much is it going to be different? I mean, to most people, probably not too noticeable, but it will the idea is that it will look very compatible with what the building should be. Yeah.
Okay, well, we thank you for your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not often that we have architects move to tears on city project, but that should be noted as a new requirement. If they can't shed a few tears, why? I don't think they're really passionate enough. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Where's Denbar? Where's your headquarters?
I'm actually in San Fernando Valley. So I'm a little bit further north, but I do projects all over Southern California.
I see.
Yep.
Well, thank you for making the drive down
Yeah.
here.
Uh,
Any other questions, commissioners? Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Secretary, did you want to call the roll, please? I'm sorry, what?
Chair, you'll need to close
okay,
the
yeah.
public hearing.
We need to have someone make a motion. Okay, all right.
I'll do it.
What's that?
Adopt a
Oh.
resolution.
We are now closing the public hearing. So, and who would like to make the motion?
Adopt a resolution approving the certificate of appropriateness for historic exterior modification application number 2023-8.
Okay, and do we have a second? That would be Commissioner Hargy. All right. Now, Madam Clerk, would you like to call the roll?
Commissioner Christie,
Yes.
Commissioner Cornelius, Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Hardy, Commissioner Haurigi,
Yes.
Commissioner Ship,
Yes.
Vice Chair Marashi,
Yes.
Chair Rush.
Yes.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Cornelius, Commissioner Escamilla, and Commissioner Hardy absent.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, that concludes the business calendar. Now moving on to staff comments. Are there any staff comments?
Very briefly, thank you, Chair. The first meeting for January 2024, the regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, the 4th of January, which is right after City Hall reopens from the holidays. So Nuvia has polled the Historic Resources Commission members for their availability for a special meeting. Once the date is finalized, it will be announced using the appropriate means.
Do you know when that'll happen? Sooner is
Tentatively,
better.
tentatively, we're aiming for the following Thursday, the 11th of January. When the date's finalized, it'll be announced.
Okay, all right.
No comment.
Okay, all right. All right, now we'll move on to commissioners' comments, and I'll start with Commissioner Ship.
Just want to say congratulations to the fire department. I actually drove by there several times for years. And I'm excited to see that it's finally, something's going to happen to it. It's going to be updated. So congratulations on that. And been gone for a while. I'm back, you guys. Had some family stuff I had to deal with. My father passed, but I'm back here now. And thank you, Commissioner Rush, for your condolences. Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Hargy?
Needless to say, I'm totally excited to see the building back. So thank you very much. And to all the homeowners for preserving our treasures. Thank you to all. And an open invitation to everyone and their families to Wilshire Square. We are having our, I believe, our 25th annual Christmas parade, and all the Santa Ana high schools and Mater Dei will be joining us with our own very special Santa. Look at our website. It's at Saturday the parade's at 3:00. Our event starts at 1:00. I've been told that the choir from Mater Dei is singing, and it will be inside of Wilshire Square. And just give us a call, look at our flyers, and just have a fabulous holidays and be safe, everybody.
Just wanted to say congratulations to all the homeowners. And thank you very much for the city and staff, and especially Andrea, for all the hard work and the excellent presentations. And I want to wish everybody a safe and joyous and happy holiday. Thank you.
Commissioner Christie?
Congratulations to each of and the city for protecting our historic treasures. Really appreciate that. And yeah, it is that holiday season. Just be safe out there. And, it's family time. This is the most important time of the whole season. It's to be with family and appreciate, especially what's going on right now in the world. We need to come together as a family. So, happy Thanksgiving, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and happy New Year. 2024 is here. And thank you, staff, for all your hard work that you've done for the year. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Alberta. Thank you, fellow commissioners. Yes, congratulations. I want to echo those congratulations to the homeowners for joining the ranks of homes that are on the historic register and have the Protection of Mills Act. So congratulations. And of course to the city. I know you've worked very hard to get this project where it is, because this property has been pretty thoroughly abused over a period of years. So anyway, that'll be fun to see that get going. What is I know that there's all kinds of vagaries, but what is the projected completion date? Is it what, a year from now or something? We won't hold you to this, of course. Just a scientific wild ass estimate.
Looking to complete contract documents by summer of next year. We still are working at coming up with construction dollars. But if all goes well, maybe a year and a half to 2 years.
Okay, all right. Well, I say Rome was not built in a day. I guess a fire station either. So, okay. All right. My next comment has to do with just an admonishment to staff over this issue of addresses. It is a pet peeve of mine that we continue to get addresses wrong. Just like today, we've got this fellow, the property on Greenleaf, on North Greenleaf. There is no North Greenleaf. Why? Because there's no South Greenleaf. There is no North Freeman. Why? Because there is no South Freeman. There is no North Freeman. So I don't care what Google Maps says, they're wrong. They had the address as Freeman Lane. That was wrong, completely wrong. So, a better effort needs to be made to get these out. We had this come before us before, and I went round and round and was told, oh no, we have to adhere to Google Maps. Why? Who made them God? They're wrong sometimes. There is no North Greenleaf. There is no North Freeman. These streets that do not have southern extensions in town, south of First Streets, need to be left alone and unmolested. So let's make an effort to do that. The other thing I want to alert everyone to is that you most all of you here in this room remember that we fought a hard battle to get the facade of the Orange County Title Company building saved. And now we're faced with Toll Brothers and First American saying, no, we're not going to put the signage back on the building. Well, that's a character defining feature. Just like tonight, we learned that the city is going to restore the signage on the Frederick H. Ely fire station. It's no longer a fire station. We hope that no one will be in there pounding on the door, asking for a fireman or delivering a baby or any foolish thing like that that would happen at a regular fire station. But I don't think that's going to happen at Orange County Title Company. Nobody's going to be banging on the door, begging to record a grant deed, or looking for meets and bounds definitions on their property deed descriptions. It's just preposterous. So what the issue is with Toll Brothers and First American is, I don't know, but this looks like that it may be headed to come back before the Planning Commission to be adjudicated. And I would hope that you would all show up and share that we only got the facade. So every square inch of that facade, as it was originally, is near and dear to us. So, and for those of you interested, my downtown walking tour will happen this Saturday, sponsored by Preserve Orange County at 2:00. So if you want to buy tickets, go to preserveorangecounty.org and you can buy tickets. In any event, I wish you all a happy Merry Christmas. I'm going to be intimately involved as Santa for Wilshire Square's parade, Floral Park's Christmas event, and Washington Square's Christmas event. So look forward to seeing you all. And please remember, I have the book of who's been good and who's been naughty. So you don't want to get on the naughty list, okay? Please remind Toll Brothers and First American, they don't want to get on my naughty list. Anyway, is there anything else to come before us? No? And tell Min we missed him, okay? All right, with that, I'll call our meeting adjourned until January 11th.